think adding on to what you have said was Marilyn's, practical example of how communities are getting together to, organize and plan trees, reforestation project, and the example of young generations having energy to do something. I think practically there is a missing link there is in terms of development planning. We have government agencies that are supposed to be doing rural appraisal, analyzing the issues at the community level, and how that can be incorporated into the district development plans, and then taken up further to the sub-national level, and then eventually end up in Waigani where the budget allocation is. And funds should be made available to these communities who are striving to initiate community projects that can enhance or encourage them to, conduct business activities themselves, and then they can be able to manage it. If this kind of capital incentives are promoted through the government arrange, where annually there is budget allocation to subsidize transport costs or to subsidize market costs that the local people will be encountering. I think that is one way of encouraging the communities to go into developing sustainable community livelihood projects. We have practical examples. Going back to the portable sawmill projects, the issue there is the market. How can this producer send the sawn timber to the nearest market, which is like Port Moresby or Ley or Rabaul or wherever? The market cost, the transport cost is very expensive. So if there is a subsidy, I think that can actually encourage. So, different players, the government, the development partners, even the communities, we can all come together and strategize on how we can, create incentive through the established mechanisms where the national government will continually subsidize funds, while the development partners can come in and counter funding so that we can empower the communities to take an initiative forward. And that's how we can be able to sustainably utilize our own resources, which we can meet our domestic consumption, but then surplus will be, produced at the same time, and we can at the same time market it. And this, I think, some macroeconomic development countries like China and elsewhere, they have actually started to produce stuff for their own well-being first. And then when there is surplus, they look at marketing it, which we can do that instead of we are trying to, take the bull by the horn, which is trying to, go into large-scale forestry or logging operations, which much of these logging operations are conducted by foreign-owned companies, which they are not national or they are not locally owned. So looking at the benefit sharing, 75% goes to the developer, which is a foreign, and 30% goes and only 5% reach the communities. And this is where you cannot see the actual benefit of the resource development and how can people sustain themselves when the forest resource is gone. So this is, I think, the practical way is the national government. All level of government should take into the development plans, support conservation at the community level, support community initiated business development activities, and
so
subsidize
on
funding.
the note of the business development activities, something close to my heart, which is renewable energy. Do you think, given that less than 15% of our population are connected to the grid, they don't have lights. The only light they have is the starlight at night. You think young people can think about becoming, trained in renewable energy technology to promote, say, solar, know how to fix solar panels and this would be an option, you think? So we move away from the forest, touching the forest, but draw from the sun. And
I believe that can be a space for young people. I mean, if the avenues provided, given the training, the education, the basics, I believe that young people can actually be involved in that.
because they can use YouTube to fix a mobile phone.
Yeah, they could,
But if they had some form of energy source, they can set up a little workshop, and people can come and they can fix the electronic equipment, and they get paid for something similar to like having a tire shop on the side of the road. If you have energy, you can fix a tire, pump the, gas the tire, and people, and these little things that you can do if you had energy, right?